Good morning people, hello and welcome to another vlog episode of the India Darshan travel series. So I'm on the, well, you can call it a highway, and I'm doing a day trip outside of Mathura, but not going too far, it's just 20 odd kilometers. We're going to Govardhan, which is about 14 kilometers remaining from here. And this is actually a mountain that has a lot of significance in the life chronicles of Krishna. So if you're a Krishna follower or devotee, you already know the significance. If not, I'll get closer to the mountain and share more about it. And there's also a Parikrama around the mountain, so let's get there, understand how the Parikrama works, and start walking around the mountain and enjoy the views. So I'm cruising that way, left Fortuner over there to take a selfie with the boat side, and it's extremely foggy and chilly at the moment. It's something like 5 odd degrees, so I'm cruising at like 20 kilometers per hour just to stay warm. But yeah, I mean, it's a short distance, so it doesn't really hurt. So let's continue onwards. I think there is a main temple where the Parikrama typically starts from, so my mission for right now is to go find what that temple is. Alright, so found a nice safe parking. So this is the multi-level parking right at the bus station. So Fortuner is parked inside, safe and sound. It costs 50 rupees for a two-wheeler. And the guy explained that you go left from here, there is supposed to be the Danghati temple. So that is mentioned as the start and the end point of the Parikrama. And there are two kinds of Parikrama out here, the long route and the short route. Long route is 11 kilometers, the short one is 10 kilometers. But the concept is that if you do the long one, you have to do the short one with it to consider it completed, which makes it 21 kilometers and twice the amount of time, which should be about 6 to 7 hours. But I don't have that kind of time to do just the Parikrama today. So I'm gonna hop on to the short one. But first we go to the temple, do the darshan and start the Parikrama from there. So this board sign explains it. Danghati Mandir up ahead. The longer Parikrama starts from the left. So we're gonna do the darshan, and then further up from the temple, if you go down, there should be the shorter route as per the parking guy. And there's a lot of eateries all along, so you can have breakfast, brunch before or after your Parikrama. Found the temple. Let's go do the darshan and kick off our Parikrama. Finally found the Parikrama route. At the beginning of the Parikrama there was a sweet shop, so grabbed some snacks to have some calories for the next 2 to 3 hours. Going through congested market streets right now. The good thing is they have this greenish board sign where they explain how much distance you have covered and what's left. And you see these people behind me that are doing a different kind of parikrama. We call it Dandvat Parikrama. you go down completely to the ground, stand up, rinse and repeat. This is much slower and much tougher. Time check, we've nearly done 1 hour, 1.56 kilometers. The next stop is going to be Radhakund, followed by Kusum Sarovar. And on our side now, we finally start to see the Govardhan Hill. And I'll move over to the pedestrian side and then explain the story behind this hill. So this is like a special walking path for the people doing the parikrama. It's like soft sand. Then there is a lane here for people using their own private vehicles or for people renting the e-rickshaws like this. So they also help you do the parikrama in case if you need one. But the true essence of parikrama is only in like walking, some walking. Anyway, the story behind this Govardhan Hill is that when Krishna was very young, probably something like 7 years old, he argued with the farmers like why were they praising the Lord Indra, the god of rain, for their harvest and not focusing on their work, which is farming. So the farmers agreed to him like they should focus more on farming and not so much on praying. So they stopped praying to Lord Indra, which of course was infuriating to him, and his ego was hurt a little bit. So then to kind of pay back for what had just happened, he did something very interesting. So to show the farmers his true power and why they need to pray to him, he took it upon himself to show them his strength. So basically he ordered thunderstorms, torrential rainfall, basically everything to create a flood-like scenario and destroy the crop, which indeed was about to happen, and the farmers were kind of scared. So they went back to Krishna and asked him for help. Now what to do? So Krishna basically lifted up this Govardhan Hill. I think it was his pinky finger of the left hand. He lifted it up, used that as shelter. So he held it up for nearly 7 days. All the farmers brought their cattle under the shelter and their essential belongings until the floods and the torrential rain settled. And Lord Indra saw this and he was impressed by how things panned out. So he called off all the torrential rainfall and everything, and his ego was shattered as well. And since then, this is a very special hill, especially for people who are devoted to Krishna. So that's why doing the walking parikrama of this hill is something that people typically do, because this is the land of Krishna, his birthplace, his playground. All of these things are like close by. So for example, Mathura was his birthplace, so we went to the temple last time. Vrindavan was his playground. This is where he picked up the hill. Then there's also Barsana, I think, is something also related to Krishna. There's like different spots nearby, all related to various aspects of life of Krishna. So we've done nearly 2 kilometers now. There's another board sign coming up, but I'm also tracking it. Took me half an hour for this. So at this rate, we should be done in about 3 to 4 hours. Let's see how long it takes. So throughout the parikrama, we're going to find a bunch of ponds like this. So this was Uddhav pond. Uddhav was one of the friends of Lord Krishna. I think we're going to find bigger ponds up ahead. And there's also cow shelters like this, and some free roaming cows, and lots of monkeys. You have to be very careful with the monkeys of Mathura and Vrindavan, because unlike other monkeys that just snatch away food from your hand, they like to snatch away spectacles, cameras, mobiles, things of value, so that they can destroy it. And the only way to get it back is to trade it with soft drinks such as a fruity, which is very common. It's a sugary mango juice, and all of these monkeys are trained for it. They know how to make a trade with you, and they only go for valuables. It's ironic, I learned it from the locals, so have to be very careful and be mindful of where I'm vlogging. Not just because I can't vlog in the temple premises, it's because of the menace that these monkeys make out here. So time check, in 1 hour 14 minutes made it to the halfway mark. The final check post is in 5 kilometers plus then something to go back to the Danghati temple again. So waiting for one of the bigger kunds to use that as a pit stop so I can rest and then continue the rest of the journey. But so far it's been very nice. Very you don't do much of elevation gain, very smooth roads, and it's been a fun and peaceful walk, so I'm really enjoying it. But I do see the Govardhan Hill is no longer a hill, it's somehow like flattened and very low altitude. Maybe something happened over the years geographically that brought it down. Found a very big Radha Kund. I think this is Krishna Kund and on that side is Radha Kund, and there is like a underneath the stairs there's a corridor for the water to infuse between the two kunds. So there is also and this is a very big circle, so I was walking around a little bit as well. There is also a Kusum Sarovar, I think, which is much bigger than this one, so we'll probably try to go get there and spend some time there. There are a lot of monkeys out here, so this is not going to be a peaceful rest place. We're gonna wreak havoc at some point. So let's go to the Kusum Sarovar instead. So that was the Kusum Sarovar. The pond itself was a little bit nasty, too much algae, but the architecture of the buildings around it was very nice. I was reading the both signs. This was built by then ruler in the memory of Raja Surajbal, so that's why it has the Bundelkhandi architecture, and it's quite nice. But as far as the correlation with Radha and Krishna goes out here, they said that Radhaji used to come here to pluck flowers, and that was just an excuse, but actually she wanted to have a conversation with Krishnaji instead. So that's why this is connected with Radha and Krishna as well. Plus the then rulers then built the architecture around it. So it's a cool place for nice pictures, but I wish the water was a little bit more cleaner. Anyways, the board sign says we have about just 2.4 kilometers before we conclude this walk. So we have done 2.5 hours, including the pit stops at the Sarovar and a little bit short break for the breakfast in the beginning. But I'm keeping a nice and easy pace, also vlogging, also visiting some temples that are still open. Most of the others are closed off, but some remain open. And there are some cows or free grazing along the way, especially the calves, so I like to say hi to them. There's this black one. Hello. Nope. Yeah, they say food only, no free touching. All of the animals are trained out here for food, so there are also villagers selling bananas for the monkeys, which basically has made monkeys aggressive here as well. So yeah, it is what it is. You have to coexist in the system. Yeah, my guess was right. You can see the height of the hill is not that high anymore. And oh, too bright. We have about a kilometer to reach the final destination, like the closing point of this Parikrama. And I think Mansi Ganga is one last stop as like a final checkpoint before you wrap it up. So the green board sign says 1.5, but the yellow one says 1. I don't know which one to believe, plus minus 500 meters. But yeah, Mansi Ganga, next stop, and then we wrap this up. So that was Mansi Ganga, manifestation of the Ganges brought in the region by Lord Krishna. And that pretty much is about the sightseeing along the Parikrama. Well, let's wrap up the rest of, I don't know, half a kilometer or so to get back to the Dan Ghati temple. All right, back to the multi-level parking. Went back to the temple, which was just about 200 odd meters from where it says Parikrama Samapt, like when you finish the Parikrama. And that was 12.55 kilometers in 3.5 hours, about 3.5 hours, including vlogging breaks, rest breaks, breakfast breaks, and average pace. You could do that in a bit sooner, like 2.5 hours or so, but this was nice and easy. And coming back to the parking was additional half a kilometer. So these are the stats, and it's now 2:30 p.m. All the other temples are going to be closed, so I'm going to go back to my hotel room, rest up, charge the batteries, and then later in the evening I'll see what else I'm going to do. So I'm going to end this episode here with an epic parikrama of the Govardhan Parvat, and I'll see you again in another episode. This is the Rustic Wanderer signing off.